Председателя? Овде. Синиша.
Distinguished members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, it is my distinct pleasure and honor to be able to announce today's press conference, where we will reaffirm the common interest and common values and principles and the permanent cooperation between Macedonia and the United Kingdom. Without any further ado, I would like to announce today's speakers, the President of the Government, Mr. Mickoski, and the Ambassador of the UK, Mr. Matthew Lawson. Prime Minister, thank you. Distinguished members of the press, distinguished fellow citizens, Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues from the government and the institutions, ladies and gentlemen. Today, from the government, I'm addressing with sense of pride and sense of historic responsibility. Yesterday in Tirana, we achieved common consent for common agreement for strategic partnership with the United Kingdom. This act is not only a symbol, it is a large, irreversible step ahead in constructing the future that our citizens deserve. Our two countries are related with common values, which we are striving to establish: freedom, democracy, rule of law, decisiveness to tackle the threats to peace and stability, deep commitment to safe and prosperous Europe. And this partnership means more than a bilateral engagement. This partnership is an architecture for the future, and that is why we're opening the door for the highest level of cooperation with the United Kingdom in defense, in fight against organized crime and illegal funding, in education, health, culture, youth policies, economic development and investments. And with this document, both governments are sending strong message, strong signal that the interests of the citizens are what matters the most, and that the politics is a powerful instrument when creating values instead of divisions. This agreement comes as a result of months of serious work between our teams, and yesterday these efforts became a clear vision. Dear friends, the partnership we're formalizing will contribute to modernizing our armed forces, and deeper integration of NATO standards will enable us to increase border security and to tackle trafficking and smuggling. Furthermore, it will enable the strongest so far economic cooperation between the two governments, including in capital investments, infrastructure, health, and energy. It will reinforce the cooperation in education, digital transformation, and innovations. It will connect our young people, creative generations, through culture, science, and new technologies. The United Kingdom was with us since the earliest and most difficult days of our independence. It was among the first countries that recognized us. They lent us a hand and invested in our stability and institutional development. We had their full support while building our democracy. And this strong partnership comes as a logical continuation of this unity based on trust, respect, and mutual vision. At the same time, why the agreement for strategic partnership with the United Kingdom is important for the Macedonian citizens. It will be the foundation of an investment cycle with a total framework of £5 billion, that is 6 billion euros, and part of this money will be used for investments in infrastructure, construction of modern cargo and fast railway from Tabanovce to Gevgelija, investments in health and new hospitals, clinical hospital in Štip, together with the building of the new medical faculty, construction of the hospital in Kičeva and reconstruction of the clinic hospital in Tetovo. In the forthcoming days, we will sign agreements for these investments. Dear friends, what was achieved today is the second key pillar in our international positioning, following immediately the strategic partnership with the United States of America. This agreement comes as a confirmation that our country is walking the path of stability, safety, development, and European future. The strategic partnership is not an award, it is a recognition for our consistency and loyalty to alliances, for our open, sincere commitment to European and Euro-Atlantic values. Dear friends, with this declaration, we are opening the new chapter in the relations between our two countries. Peace, stability, future, and dignity of the country. With the United Kingdom, we are not only allies, we become strategic partners, and this document is the roadmap that will lead us in the years to come, with trust, cooperation, and resolution. On behalf of the government and the citizens, once again, I want to thank for the support, friendship, and vision. Thank you. President, thank you. Distinguished Ambassador, you may take the floor now.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. On behalf of Prime Minister Starmer and the Government of the United Kingdom, I'm absolutely delighted that we have reached a really pivotal moment in our bilateral relationship, which has always been strong, but I think is going from strength to strength. And as you say, is built on shared values, shared NATO partnership, and a really, really strong trade and investment relationship. We're one of your largest investors, and the British government thought it was high time to really build on that and create a step change through a government-to-government agreement that's focused on trade and investment to create even further growth and hundreds of millions of pounds of investment that will benefit the citizens of this country together with the citizens of our country. So this is a fantastic moment. As you've said, Prime Minister, we're really delighted with the strength of our partnership, from the training of our armed forces together. Our soldiers train with you, they're ready to fight with you. This is a partnership that's not just on paper, this is a partnership of shared values and commitments. And as part of that broader bilateral partnership, we're going to deepen that even further through cooperating across the board on everything from trade and investment to education to combating organised crime and the scourge of the criminal gangs that are bringing poor migrants across this region to the UK and to other countries. And all of these things are important components of what we're agreeing today. So on behalf of Prime Minister Starmer and the government, I know you had a fantastic meeting yesterday with our Prime Minister, which is excellent, and I'm delighted that next week we're taking the Deputy Prime Minister to London to sign the government-to-government agreement, which is focused on the trade and investment priorities that you've outlined, Prime Minister. So I think it's a really a sequence of agreements that is going to really strengthen our bilateral partnership from the very top of government down, from prime ministers down, and I couldn't be prouder as the British Ambassador to stand here with you and with your colleagues today to announce this partnership. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much, Prime Minister. Thank you to your colleagues, and thank you to the people of North Macedonia who've given me and my team such a warm welcome. It's a fantastic moment as my time as Ambassador and for our team as well. So I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Thank you.
Благодарам, амбасадора. Сега...
Thank you, Ambassador. Now we will continue with the questions. Sandra? Thank you. My question to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, 6 billion euros. How will this money reach Macedonia? Under which conditions? Under which terms? What is the interest rate? Whether they will come all of them together or maybe in tranches? Can you explain us a bit more on the process? We are working on the details that you're asking about. The strategic partnership is a political message for the trust that both countries enjoy and have gained throughout the years. And this is something that is finally being valued after my yesterday's meeting with Prime Minister Starmer. All these details which you're speaking of, I generally know the frames because they have been negotiated for months, and I think that they're the best that someone can have on the market, but this has not been completed. It is not final, although we are reaching the final solution, and this will be published very soon. bore is the example. Also, the fixed periods, grace period, and long repayment period. We have fixed several projects, that is reconstruction, modernization of the railway connecting Tabanovce and Gevgeliad. And we expect 10-time increase in the cargo transport and increase in the number of passengers. And also the speed of the cargo transport and passenger transport, because the average will be 160 kilometers per hour for passengers and 110 for the cargo transport. Furthermore, finishing of the clinical hospital in Štip together with the medical faculty and the dormitory, as well as construction of a new hospital in Kičevo and reconstruction of the hospital in Tetovo. And of course, in future, we will discuss other projects that will be within the frames of this agreement and under these terms we are speaking of. So I would like to avail of this opportunity to extend my appreciation to the UK ambassador, who had a particularly important role in all of this, so that we as a country can have such a type of an agreement and such strategic partnership with one of the most important countries, not only in Europe, but also in the world, and that is the United Kingdom. Prime Minister, 6 billion euros of investment are some serious money, but this will reflect directly to the public debt that will impact the growth of the GDP, but also will impact the public debt. Do you have clear calculations how much will the public debt will increase in the future period? And also regarding the projects, the business community is requesting coordination for these projects, so that after these investments are finished, the business community can deliver growth of the GDP. We will spend the 6 billion, so the business community wants to deliver GDP which will reduce the public debt. Do you have any clear calculations? Because this is some serious amount of money. Absolutely. I would like to give an answer on both of your questions. First, having a strategic partnership with the United Kingdom means certain political safety. And this, of course, should have a positive impact on the rating agencies, all those who are estimating the conditions for leading business in our country. The very fact that in the first quarter this year we have a growth of loans of both the economy and the citizens of about 13%, which is 6 times more than Europe for the same period and 2 times more compared to last year, speaks that people have trust, they want to lead businesses in our country, so this is a compliment for us. When it comes to the question about the public debt, yes, absolutely, these two processes of GDP growth and the funds that will be injected in the realization of the projects will be 2 parallel processes. And according to my estimations, I'm not an economist, I'm an engineer, but I do have certain experience in business and, of course, monitoring macroeconomic parameters. I expect that the GDP will grow faster than the debt, so we will reduce the public debt instead of increase it, because we are speaking of capital investments. We are not speaking of borrowing money, spending social transfers. And in construction, money is growing faster. So I do not expect that there will be some implications when it comes to the public debt and these parameters, especially because the first invoice should come in the beginning of 2027. So we'll have a grace period when we will be able to develop, to grow the GDP, so that we are not in a situation, as you said, to have increase in the public debt without increasing the GDP. So in general, we are speaking of a historic moment for our economy, for our business, and I will reflect on your second question. Yes, absolutely. Everything that will happen and what we are planning to do, I will transparently discuss with the business community. We will sit down on a working lunch, because all of this should be delivered. The projects that will be delivered are part of the strategic partnership, and when we will add the current projects, the projects in municipalities, then we should sit down and see what is our absorption capacity, because at least 70% of the agreement foresee a local component. So this is something that will be of great support for the Macedonian economy, and we should work together with the business community. Yes, we will not make this project private, because we cannot do that. Thank you, President. Ognan? A question to the ambassador. Distinguished ambassador, there are some information in the public that within the frames of the strategic partnership, Macedonia will need to accept asylum seekers, migrants. The information came out in both the public and English media. So is this true or not? And what should Macedonia deliver within the frames of this strategic partnership? And of course, does the strategic partnership mean that we will alleviate the process of visa issuance for the Macedonian citizens?
Very much for the question. I'm very happy to answer that. So at the core of this strategic partnership, as the Prime Minister has said, is really issues of investment, of growing the economy, of working together for the mutual benefit on what is already a fantastic trade and investment partnership. You're absolutely right that we are really happy that as part of the agreements that are part of this, that this country has decided to join the Joint Migration Task Force. It was announced by our Prime Ministers yesterday. But to be really, really clear what that is about our police forces working together, tackling the criminal gangs upstream. They are talking about better intelligence sharing, better information sharing. This is exactly the kind of thing that is already done with several other European countries here. The British, we obviously need to have that mechanism ourselves bilaterally with the country. So this really is what this is about. It's a totally different story to issues of taking migrants back and so forth, and that is not what this is about. So I just want to be really, really clear on that with the government, because I think what we absolutely agree is that this is a broad partnership. There's security and defence and trade and education and investment. I know that there's a lot of speculation in the British press at the moment, and particularly coming out of the EPC about this, and of course you'll have seen that, and you're absolutely right to ask me about that. But this is not what this agreement is about. This agreement is about upstream police cooperation and better being able to fight these criminal gangs that are bringing all kinds of commodities, from people to drugs. This is what this is about. Visas, we have a fantastic relationship with this country. The visas are a headache for British businesses. They're a headache for people of this country. I would love, as British ambassador, to see the visa regime part of these negotiations. I will be open and honest with you that the migration pressures on the United Kingdom are real, and that is a political issue for our government. But it's certainly something that we're happy to discuss in the broader framework of this partnership. So watch this space, and we'll keep talking about all of these issues. But I think, politically, it is really difficult for us in terms of migration, and that is reflected in the nature of our visa regime, even with really close partners like North Macedonia. But this strategic partnership can only help, as the Prime Minister has said, broaden and deepen this partnership. So watch this space, but it's a great question.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, members of the press, for your presence and interest. Now we are closing today's press conference.